Welcome back to the HGC. We are all tied up 1-1 as we gear up for game number 3. And the first map, we have Fnatic come out and they held on for dear life.
Yeah.
And we're able to get a victory over Dignitas, which is a big statement. Dignitas, the best team we have here in the HGC. But Dignitas being the best team they come into game number 2 and they shut down Fnatic in their attempts with Sergeant Hammer.
They got angry. They got really angry. They came back from the Western Clash. They won against North America and against all the European teams that attended. And they said, boys, this is us. We are waiting for BlizzCon. We want to fight the Koreans. No one else is even on our level. And they come back and they lose immediately first map. Fnatic made them angry and they shut them down.
As we gear up for game number 3, it felt like Hanzo, Poik in particular, was in a position where he's like, I have to perform here. I'm so tired of playing Sergeant Hammer. He went off that game. 85,000 damage, landing the Dragon's Arrow, allowing for multiple moments to get those kills. And of course, they were able to get the win. Let's go to Infernal Shrines, Dignitas with the pick.
Yeah, and it was definitely one of those situations where you look at it and he just said, like, guys, don't draft Hammer for me. Did you see what I did on Hanzo? Did you see my numbers? Now, I mean, jokes aside, Hammer is a big part here, and we are going to see Hammer also very likely in one form or another as a ban, as a pick on this battleground. Infernal Shrines, Dignitas' choice makes perfect sense. 4-0 here in league play, and Fnatic, for them, it hasn't really been a successful map.
Yeah.
20% win rate for Fnatic, 1 win, 4 losses here. If you measure that against their average win rate of above 50%, that's pretty abysmal. So Dignitas definitely knows what they're doing here. They know that this is not going to be an easy series for them after all. Take a win now on a good map for you, and you might gain that momentum to win the entire match with a 3-1.
Yeah, this has been a battleground that we found in the past from Fnatic that has moved into Sergeant Hammer pick and gotten out macroed by a few of their teams now. Of course, that did come down to the statements that we've been talking about earlier where they weren't fully on the same page. So things could change today, but it is an uphill battle for them. As you mentioned, Dignitas is stellar on this battleground.
And especially today, we had so many draft adjustments already. This is one of the beautiful things about Heroes of the Storm, these counter picks that oftentimes come into play against Hammer. One of those answers that Leftovers and Method have showcased was Nazebo. That's one of the things they showed here. Might be something that we see later down the road, but the first thing that happens is on Infernal Shrines against Fnatic, you want to get rid of Diablo. Breeze is a monster on that hero. Diablo himself, of course, very powerful, and especially so in Infernal Shrine.
His Fire Stomp build is so easy to pull off from this battleground. He has so many corridors where your teammates are coming into it, your opponent's looking to fight you. If you're looking for an escape, even if you get in a troublesome situation, you drop down the Fire Stomp, retreat, get fully healed up, and then of course you have your souls being stacked up like crazy. Very solid hero on this battleground. And then on top of that, if you win the Punisher, you have the ability to dive in with the Punisher and force kills if your opponents don't bring enough numbers for defense. So Diablo, a strong ban on this battleground, and Deckard Cain continues to be a strong pick this weekend as he is first pick for Fnatic.
And that immediately brings us, of course, back to another hero. We had this battle between priorities. Who do you prioritize? Is Deckard Cain worthy of a first pick, or do you go into that earlier UL? And so far, both of the teams have answered very clearly that they feel Deckard Cain just offers the most. First of all, Zelia, of course, from Dignitas' side, is extremely powerful in the hero. We saw his numbers earlier, but now also Deckard gets more value on this map in particular. But again, if you give up Deckard, if you give up URL and you prioritize Deckard, then you can be pretty sure that your opponent is at least thinking about URL, and we'll be locking it in.
Wubby's girls, Urel, he's loved that character since her release. Him and Aethero have been leading the charge when it comes to playing the character, but Hanzo is more of a surprise for me. A second pick coming out for Team Dignitas. Now I say surprise, even though he did really well in game number 2. Hanzo has fallen off for a lot of teams here in the HGC because dive potential is very large. You have heroes like Muradin and Urel that are strong in the meta right now, and Muradin actually comes out for Fnatic to aid with the idea of jumping on Hanzo and Blaze. Now of course there are adjustments you can make with Hanzo. Explosive Arrow, great on the Shrine.
Yeah, and Blaze taken very early here for the offlane and also for the Shrine control, which makes perfect sense. This is still a map where you oftentimes see Leore coming into play. And this is actually the map where we saw Fnatic and Dignitas battle it out. It was the final map that we had the last time the two teams faced off against each other. And what was very symptomatic about it is that the new Fnatic player, Last Hope, had a big problem with nerfs towards the late game when he had the tools at his disposal with a Buried Alive, and he missed 4 entombs in a row that could have been game deciding. He apologized on Twitter afterwards. A lot of people gave him the support then and said, listen, you played so much better already since you came to Fnatic than everyone expected, since he was a complete new addition to HGC and to competitive play in Heroes of the Storm in the first place. But this is definitely one of those maps where they now make an adjustment, and I want to see how Last Hope performs here.
Wow, a Johanna and a Hammer coming out with the Hanzo to back it up. So now they can force the fight whenever they would like, and they have protection. With Johanna on the front line, you have Sergeant Hammer shelling away. Does Fnatic even attempt to build for the Shrine right now?
I honestly expected them to ban out Johanna. If you go for a pick on Muradin in your first rotation and Diablo is banned out, to me that screamed they want to get rid of some frontliners. I honestly believe that in the third spot, they're going to take care of either Johanna or of Garrosh, trying to force one of the two out. Now they have to deal with a lot of Shrine clear potential, as you just talked about.
Yeah.
But they have Zeratul on Junkrat, so at least a little bit of outward poke through Junkrat himself. And they still believe in Zeratul, and this time it looks actually that they're switching players. It seems that is Shrimpy on the hero.
What support are we going to run here? Is Uther an option for you? We've seen Dignitas play with it a little bit in the past. They go actually to Whitemane themselves. Has Whitemane won?
Nope.
Once today? She's 0-4?
Yep. They're actually not quite true. Sorry, she won one game for Method. Method won a game with her, but outside of that, she lost everything.
So Whitemane coming in for the 5th pick to help protect the Sergeant Hammer and the Hanzo in the back line. And of course, level 13, you bring in that root, making it easier to potentially lock down that Zeratul. But that's the main key here for Fnatic. They have Zeratul, which is the one that can get in the back line and force the issue when they need to. So we'll be watching over for Schwimpy to see if he can deliver those blows.
And also, we have another question that is now going to be answered. Fnatic was a bit more unstable in the past since they made the big roster changes, and this is now the big question for them. After they just won a game and maybe had their hopes high of taking this series and shutting Dignitas down, now they just got completely slapped apart in game number 2. So do they still have it where they pull themselves together, don't tilt, just say, okay guys, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
We still got this. Let's go into the next game. Or are they all of a sudden back into that mode where we see individual mistakes coming through as a result?
I like the word unstable there. It seems like the balance is lost when they fall behind. They have playmakers on their team that all attempt to go for these weird playmaking abilities instead of just using the dramatic teamwork that you can use to break down your opponents. Let's go into it. Here on the left side, Team Dignitas. Poik on Sergeant Hammer, Wubby on Yrel, Zalia on Whitemane, Stitch on Hanzo, and JPL to play Johanna.
Dignitas wants to be dominant, but to the right side of the map, that challenges here in this game. Mena on Junkrat, the Frenchman here with Breeze leading the charge on Murden, Schwimpy on Zeratul this time, Smexy on Deckard Kane, and of course, Last Hope is on the side lane here with Blaze.
So in the first Punisher phase, do you think Fnac's going to try and peel off and just go for the soaking play here? It seems like that might be their option with the ability for Dignitas just to control the Shrine.
I feel like the zone control that Fnatic has, at least through Deckard Kane and to an extent also through Junkrat, is actually not too bad. The question is just how do you set up control? Whoever sets up position first has a very good chance of making it difficult for the opponent. But when we're looking towards Junkrat and Muradin, some of the plays that we've seen in the past against, for example, yesterday when Fnatic played against the Zealots, what they try to do oftentimes is they lead with a Stormbolt against the target, Junkrat will move in and will just push the target back with the grenade. And all of a sudden you have an isolated hero that could be killed. And I think that's pretty much what they're going to try and do here again.
It's all about finding those small moments where we're able to land those abilities into session 2 next to each other. Sergeant Hammer is in the bottom lane, already working against Junkrat, while Yrel and Blaze start the top lane exchange. You already have Hanzo, though, splitting off to the left to start working on this Merc camp, but Breeze, he sniffs it out, and he sniffs it out quickly. Fnatic has a chance to come over here and invade if they would like, as they're a little bit too late for their own Merc camp.
Yeah, Schwimpy makes that rotation right now. Breeze is there, but there's 4 heroes on the side of Dignitas. Here comes Menes, Maxi also on the way as we speak. And we have still Last Hope moving in. Yrel is a bit late, but Fnatic is already chunked low in HP, so they need to be careful here. Another good Stormbolt connects for Breeze as he's working on the talent, but they have to give up the attempt to steal the camp away.
And that means they don't get their own camp, which means there'll be some pressure in the middle lane that Junkrat has to clear out, but it opens up Team Dignitas to push in the bottom or work on the Merc camp to the south, and they do so. Team Dignitas runs on over, grabs it immediately. Murden comes over to check it out, but with Junkrat in the middle, I don't think they can evade.
Yeah, another Stormbolt. I mean, Breeze is really just trying to weave those Stormbolts in now. He's sitting at 5 stacks, and the faster you complete that quest, the better, of course. It's always underestimated how much of an impact that quest actually has for Muradin, because it's not only that Pierce. This is something that people think about immediately. You get the Pierce, and that's great if you are in a closed-off area where people are stacking, you get the double stun in. But even more importantly at times can really be that cooldown reduction that you get through auto attacks, because it allows you, if you're very active in the team fight and you weave mechanically these auto attacks in, it gets you additional storm bolts over and over again. And that can make Muradin a massive, massive force to be reckoned with. So that's something that Fnatic is going to try and get as fast as possible.
You become sticky like honey. When that level 7 comes online, given the axe coming in there, the storm bolts popping in, working those auto attacks. Very strong quest to finish up for Muradin. That's why you see so many try to finish it quickly.
Wouldn't quite compare it to Honey because that's a positive, but let's compare to Old Chewing Gum.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, that gum that's on the bottom of your shoe. That's what Muradin is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Underneath the table, you know, by accident you put into it. It's like, oh, how to get away from that one.
I can see that. Muradin, get this Muradin off me. Get this gum off me. It's perfect. It's good. It's good.
Best analogy.
Team Dignitas already starts the Shrine, and this is what I was worried about. How do you break from this if you're Fnatic? Already, Team Dignitas has a lead at 9-0. They did start their camps in the top, so both will be exchanging, but Wubby already rotates down to help start a hammer.
Yeah, find that coordination. It's not going to be easy for Fnatic by any means. They are the underdog in this game. Dignitas, they are the champions. They are the ones who just came off the Western Clash, who won the tournament, not dropping a map. And now against Fnatic, they are angry, and Wubby already jumping in deep here. Schwimpy, though, they're going for Snitch, and Snitch is low. Somehow escapes. The Stormbolt misses. Schwimpy falls, and Snitch survives. Like, what? What an insane escape by Hanzo. Absolutely amazing. Zeratul goes in again for the final blow, but with the help of Whitemane, Hanzo survives and Schwimpy falls. Unbelievable.
Bow before the High Inquisitor, bringing out the heals. Whitemane able to dish out the damage as well, getting a solid Inquisition, allowing for the complete save on Hanzo. And Team Dignitas just easily turns around, grabs the Punisher, and starts to push in the middle.
Unbelievable. What an insane turnaround. It was such a fantastic engage on Hanzo. It was perfect. And he gets out. Zelia keeps him alive, and that's the moment when Fnatic just gets slapped in the face and they're saying, okay, we give this one up. And I honestly want to see if they can recover from this. This was not only a kill against them, that was a complete shutdown.
Yeah. And the slapping in the face continues. This fort already down to half health. Snitch chasing down Breeze. Breeze has already hopped out, but Snitch is looking to try and grab that kill. Poik, meanwhile, shells away on top of that fort, and there are a few minions here. Breeze may have been able to get out. Snitch is still chasing him down, but Fnatic is holding this fort in the middle. They lose that, and they'll lose a chunk of experience, and they're already half a level behind.
Yeah, Snitch is still there chasing. Bit of damage comes out, but Breeze should fall here eventually. The third wind might actually keep him alive. Nah. Just a bit too late here. 2 kills. The fort in the mid lane about to fall. Dignitas with a level lead, and it all really started with that engage onto Snitch and him somehow surviving. Absolutely fantastic play by Dignitas. And Fnatic, I mean, that just feels bad. If you're in that spot, how do you recover that from that mentally, just simply?
You gotta relax. You're 2 levels behind from level 10. It's where your composition starts to come online. Bunker and Void Prison are instrumental team fight tools that you'll need to handle this Hanzo and this Sergeant Hammer. But they are getting a little frantic. You're seeing them jump into these fights. They're being a little bit behind in rotations. Poik is set up exactly where he needs to be.
To be honest, with Zelia and Snitch and that escape that we saw on Hanzo, it sometimes feels that Dignitas has a special ability where they can slow down time. And things just unfold slower, and they don't panic. They actually don't panic. The sidesteps that we see, the moves that they make, it is absolutely crisp and clear, and they are reaping the rewards now. Level 10 is in. No objective is up, so Dignitas picks their heroic abilities, and this is the moment where Fnatic is going to sit back, get XP for themselves, try and make sure that there's no additional kills coming in on Dignitas' side, and once that you have your heroic abilities and the next shrine is up, that's when you try and make your own play.
Honestly, I think it would be an okay secret if it came out that Team Dignitas was superheroes. It would make sense why a lot of the teams feel like they fall behind and lose. It'd be nice to be like, all right, I'm not losing to actual humans. This is actually okay. Fort getting sieged down already in this bottom lane with a full half a level setup here for Fnatic. Team Dignitas is going to just take their prize of the fort, and Fnatic cannot do anything about it. They have Zeratul working on the middle lane. They're just soaking up and building towards 10.
People have been asking, are there aliens amongst us? And rejoice, the search is over. We found them.
We did have Zelia tell us a story about a magical jet. That could have been a UFO.
To be honest, with Zelia's ramblings that sometimes has,
He's the only one that can't hide it well enough.
I could totally believe it. All the other aliens are just like, dude, you have to calm down. You just can't drop that stuff the entire time. And he's the only one who can play acted properly. It makes so much sense right now. We're on to something here.
We're on to something here. We need a detective on top of that. 10 does connect for Fnatic, so they're on to something as they dual land 10 and can now start to force a fight. Ooh, Snitch feeling a little aggressive. Drops down to Dragon's Arrow, trying to catch Schwimpy, who's going for that wormhole.
But that also shows you what kind of a tightrope Schwimpy is currently walking with Zeratul, right? He makes a quick play and tries to get some damage in, and Snitch just turns around and hammers the ult out immediately. It gets sidestepped, but if that connects again, then we are in for another play by Dignitas. Now, on the other hand, we're in for another objective, and this is a moment where Fnatic can again try a turnaround.
That's an Arcane Punisher, too. Yeah. One that you do not want to give up. Fnatic steps up. They have a full level before. Team Dignitas hits level 13, so they are fighting on equal talent tiers. Zeratul is in position on the bottom left to come in for a flank. He jumps straight on top of anyone nearby, gets some damage on Hanzo, but Snitch backs up with half health.
And you perfectly pointed out the Punisher here, because whoever played Hardcore Diablo 3 at any point and stepped on an Arcane Sentry knows exactly that you don't mess around with those beasts. At this point, they engage into the backline. They're going for it. Great Lornado. This one is fantastic. Already the Riptire is out. They're going for Whitemane. Zelia popping the Scarlet Aegis, trying to keep himself alive and the rest. And they actually do. It's Zeratul who falls first, but Fnatic isn't done yet.
Same time, Zelia continues to get out the heals here, gets a shield from his desperate plea as his build keeps coming in, and he is sidestepping attacks from Breeze, turns around and gets his own auto attack as he gets a Zeal. How is Zelia still alive? Poik steps up with the auto attacks, and here's the Dragon's Arrow as Last Hope attempts to escape.
This is ridiculous. Zelia is alive, and 3 on Fnatic's side are dead. He was dead in the waters, Whitemane that is. She was trying to escape here, and Zelia just not caring at all. Keeps not only himself alive, but also allows then Hanzo to escape once more. And then the turnarounds happen as Zeratul gets shut down and Fnatic loses 3. Absolutely unbelievable.
The worst part is the VP used by Fnatic was a setup to try and secure some kills in the front line, but Poik used that VP as a setup to get his own kill. He turned around with a BFG and he blew up Zeratul, who was positioned to drop down a cleave. Team Dignitas turns the fight around that Fnatic was attempting to win and just shuts them down.
It's absolutely amazing to watch this right now. 5-0 as Dignitas takes a decisive lead in this game. And Fnatic at this point just accepting that things are not going their way. They are still trying. They are still trying to hold on to that keep. But this isn't easy at all as Team Dignitas is aggressively pushing forward here. And it is mind-blowing how well coordinated Dignitas is in these instances. And Fnatic, they are making play after play. They're having great combos. But they are always the ones dying first.
Dignitas steps up. Arrow comes out, another lockdown on Zeratul. Schwimpy will fall. Breeze starts to escape. Wubby jumps back over the wall, and now the keep is here for the picking. Team at Dignitas able to continue this pressure.
Breeze on 16 stacks with the Stormbolts here on his Muradin. We're seeing Dignitas pushing in aggressively. Smexy doing what he can for the lockdown. Last Hope following it up too. Once again, the Scarlet Aegis being popped on the side of Whitemane. The keep holds for a bit longer. But can they actually save it? Is Dignitas just going to push in again with the next minion wave, or are they at least for now moving back?
Don't risk it for the biscuit here. You're 15.5, you're to 12.5. Fnatic's working on 13, they have VP.
Yeah, if it was a muffin, you would go for it, but for a biscuit,
Yeah.
like, I'm not really feeling it either.
You go for the all-in-place for muffins, but never for biscuits there. That keep in the top right corner, you can clear that up later. You can get a night camp later. Just back up, keep this level lead you have, and work towards 16.
Exactly.
Blueberry muffin.
If it was for a banana nut muffin, that's where you just go all out. But in this case, move back, play it safe, and Dignitas has every reason to play it safe. So far ahead, they had fantastic plays. They shut down Fnatic whenever they found an engage, and now Dignitas is looking towards that level 16 talent here. They want to have the talent advantage over Fnatic. Once they have the extra talent, they have a huge lead. It's a massive power spike for them. And now they can go for the keep. They can go for the next objective. And they want to make sure that Fnatic has no chance whatsoever to pull off another Tomb of the Spider Queen. They want to make sure that Fnatic is not going to make a comeback.
Best time for Fnatic to fight is going to be at the level 16 if they can hold on. I mean, Ancient Blessing comes on at 13 as well as the Healing Static coming online for Muradin. So those are big power spikes. But 16 for Zeratul is a big change up, but also Junkrat, those endless nades.
And that 16 is such a big if for Fnatic, right? Can they actually get there? Now there's the push at the top lane, and this is Dignitas eliminating the first keep. So now catapults are gonna spawn on that lane. But Dignitas is not gonna stop with that top keep. They want more out of this, and so they should. They're so far ahead. This is, if you are this far ahead, you need to make the plays. You need to be pushing your advantage, and that's what they're looking for. Schwimpy is trying to at least elevate the pressure a little bit and just put down some structures at the bot lane to get experience for them. But they are just in a defensive position here and just getting hammered into the ground.
Dignitas is just picking a la carte. Here, I'll take a keep. I'll take a turret. I'll take a gate. Here's a couple minions. Oh, there's a Zeratul. That looks nice. A couple of picks here and there, but Fnatic has to turn it around. Stop this buffet as it continues to keep falling.
They know exactly where he is.
Schwimpy's in trouble. Does he get out of this? He has Wormhole, right?
Yeah, he doesn't get out of this.
To be fair, getting experience. It's one of those situations that you go for.
I mean, I'm honestly not gonna lie. Once we had that first engage or the first objective and Zeratul falls and they don't get the kill against Hanzo, that was already such a massive shutdown and such an unexpected one after this fantastic engagement Fnatic pulled off that it's already tough to come back from that.
Sure.
Then they have the next fight and they play it patient at the top and they get another great combo with a perfect Tornado in a choke point and they isolate white lane. And again, they are unsuccessful to get the kill and they themselves lose 3. How do you recover from this? And I guess at this point, I actually think you don't. Attempt here with a Blessed Shield. Arrow also missing. No kills for Dignitas. Fnatic actually holding on for now.
The 4v4, Dignitas is fighting in the middle. Urel has been back at the Punisher, clearing that shrine up. Punisher will bolster this push coming in from Team Dignitas. Zeratul has respawn though. And 16 is right around the corner for Fnatic.
Not gonna lie here, Fnatic is able to pull off a comeback here that would be absolutely miraculous. They
did in game 1.
They did in game 1, but in game 1 they held on to all their gems.
Yeah.
And they didn't die. Different story here. They still could pull that off. It's still possible. But it is going to be a very uphill battle. And if they want to turn it around, they have to do it right here. They need to get 16, not die to the Punisher, and somehow get a kill. And with Zeratul already dead, that's just not gonna happen.
Schwimpy just got completely bodied there. He was positioned in a spot to where he could try to get 16 and then go in for a Wormhole, get a cleave, and start to get ready for that level 16 power spike. And Dignitas, aware of that, they just jump in, knock him out, and immediately blow him up. And now Dignitas in a 5v4 with no VP being available for Fnatic, they make a play for the core.
Yeah, they're going to go for game here immediately. On the other side, you have just so many defensive tools here, also with Urel's armor now. Tornado comes through, but this is Dignitas trying to go in for the lead in the series. The shields are gone, the core is falling. Breeze about to die, he goes down, and so does Deckard Cain. Blaze is eliminated. Only Junkrat is still alive, and it doesn't matter anymore since Fnatic's core is destroyed by Dignitas as they claim victory in game number 3 and extend the lead 2-1 in their favor.
It's the same story over and over again. Game number 1, Dignitas may need to take some time to rev up, but once they get going, they go a long distance. Game number 2 and game number 3 have been a display on how to shut down your opponent. Hanzo looking great, but Wubby able to find Zeratul in multiple fights. Schwimpy had a hard game this game, 5 deaths.
Yeah, Schwimpy was definitely chased down hard. To be fair, a lot of disengages against a lesser team, Fnatic would have dominated. It's actually, yeah, I honestly believe that. The first move against Hanzo, if that is successful, you win the first Punisher. It's a completely different game there.
Sure.
And very few teams, if any, outside of Dignitas and maybe Gen G, are able to save Hanzo in that situation. That was fantastic play by Dignitas, and I think very few teams are able to pull that off. But as it stands, for Fnatic, I think it's rough that there's no mini break right now. Because if that was the case, they could just take a deep breath, look at this and say, okay, guys, draft didn't quite work out for us. How do we approach this right now? How do we deal with this? Do we have to prioritize Urel differently? Is that a hero that we need to grab for ourselves? Is our faith in Zeratul really justified? Or do we just let that go now? Because this was the second time in a row, granted different players, but similar results. So game 1 was strong by Fnatic from a strategic point of view. Game 2, they had a couple of cool team fights, but once it snowballed, it completely turned around against them. I mean, game number 3 was just a shutdown from start to finish. With sparks of genius on Fnatic's side, but always extinguished by Dignitas. So now Fnatic has to come in with a different game plan. And they said they prepared drafts. I want to see one of them now.
The sparks never lit the fireworks, that's for sure. And I'm glad that you brought up Zeratul there, because there are moments where Fnatic, week on week, they have a certain hero they usually get attached to. One week it might be Valera, next week it might be Raynor, and this week it's seeming like it might be Zeratul, but that Zeratul is having a really hard time getting the fights that they want. You look at Dignitas, and they are so aware of that wormhole timing. I mean, the dragon arrow in the middle of a fight just randomly coming out shows how willing they are to shut down the Zeratul. So going into game number 4, I think I agree with you. The drafts that were alluded to yesterday in the interview need to pop out. Maybe we go to Sky Temple. That's a battleground where Dignitas can kind of split them up a little bit and try to get kills.
It's actually another good point. I really want to see what is the choice now for Fnatic, because as we said before the game started, it is a pretty bad map for Fnatic. Let's not kid ourselves here. 1 and 4 on Infernal Shrines, that definitely showcases, okay, something is a little bit off with their calling or with the way that they approach the map, with the ideas that they have going into it. Whereas Dignitas entered that particular match now with a 4-0 on this one. So now the question remains, what's going to be the next map choice and who picked the map?
Well, let's do it. Battleground number 4 is ready to go. Let's see where we are going. Dignitas is going to have the map choice as Fnatic elects to take first pick. And we're going to Dragonshire.
Bit of a better map for Fnatic. 2 wins, 1 loss. Dignitas is at a 2-0 here, and from the way that they play and the way that they control macro game, this is all obviously a map where Dignitas is expected to do well, since they are very strong when it comes to macro calls and map awareness. So I think that 2-0 doesn't quite reflect how strong they are here, but for Fnatic this is at least not a map where they are currently suffering as much as they do on Infernal Shrines.
I mean, yesterday we got to witness them play a composition on this battleground that they felt they were outdrafted with, and they turned it around. Like, they have the strategy to run this map.
Hey, actually, it's actually a 3-0 one. I actually neglected to add that. Yeah, so 3-0 for Fnatic. It's not too bad. And after yesterday, as you said, might have adjusted their own style a little bit.